been joined by Houston coach Tom Herman. As we said, the Cougars were in action this past weekend against Tennessee Tech. Houston won the game 52-24. Up next for the Cougars will be this Saturday at Louisville. Game will be a noon Eastern time start on ACC regional networks. Coach, thanks so much for joining us on the call. First, congratulations on getting win number one in your head coaching career. If you could just recap the game for us against Tennessee Tech and then tell us what you expect to see Saturday as you hit the road to face Louisville, please.
To recap, played really well on defense, save for 3 or 4 very costly, explosive plays that were some missed assignments that we've got to get cleaned up. But we held them to 9 3-and-outs and had a turnover. And, you can never take those plays away. But if you look at the overall play of our defense, I thought they played well. The scoreboard doesn't show it because of those 4 huge plays. I think offensively, we were kind of our own worst enemy when we stayed out of our own way with penalties, or we had a center playing in his first college football game, rolled a couple snaps back there, so got us behind the chains. When we stayed on schedule and kind of executed the way that we're supposed to, I think we played really well offensively, but we've got to eliminate those kind of first game mistakes for us to have a chance to win this week. Louisville, a tremendous matchup for us in terms of this will be a big challenge. They defensively are really, really good, led by Devontae Fields, the outside linebacker transferred from TCU, and really kind of everywhere. Their front seven are really, really solid, really good players. Our offensive line and tight ends and tailbacks will have their hands full. And then offensively, it'll be interesting to see. They played the 2 different quarterbacks and to see which one they stick with. And obviously, Lamar Jackson, being a true freshman, played well for them in relief and provides a little bit different dynamic because he is a strong, powerful runner. So it'll be a good challenge for our guys.
We'll take questions for Coach Herman. Please star 1 on your telephone to join the queue. Then the operator will introduce you.
We'll go to Dick Weiss with the American Athletic Conference.
That's great. Hey, Tom, how are you?
I'm good, Dick. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Could you give us your take on Greg Warden's first game? And this is your first look at your offense, and maybe kind of give us an idea what you thought after your first game.
I thought we threw the ball better than maybe I had anticipated us doing. Greg, in fact, probably missed a couple throws still, as is very typical for guys that are extremely athletic like him. I think at times he, kind of lets his fundamentals and technique lapse at times, especially with his footwork, which caused a few errant throws. He missed some open guys that his passing numbers could have been even more than they were.
Wow.
We struggled a little bit to run the ball inside. I was surprised Kenneth Farrow, who was 3-time captain for us, probably our best player on offense, didn't play very well. Thought he pressed a little bit, missed some cuts, missed some holes. But we ran the ball on the perimeter pretty well. And then obviously Greg, when was forced to keep the football, is obviously very dynamic out in space with the ball in his hands. So overall, it was okay. I was again disappointed with, I think we had 3 false start penalties, and like I said, 2 or 3 snaps that just rolled back there because the center was nervous, had sweaty palms or whatever it was. But I'm pleased with the trajectory that we're on offensively.
Can you make any comparison to Louisville to any teams that you've played in the past, Tom?
I hadn't thought about it. I think it'd probably be without me putting a ton of thought into it. It would be tough
Sure.
for me to say. I think, maybe Wisconsin maybe comes to
Wow.
mind just because they want to, run the football. They'll get in 2 tight ends and try to cram it down your throat a little bit on offense, and then try to throw it over your head with play action pass, and then they base out of a 3-4 very aggressive style defense. So that would be the first one that comes to my mind, but without putting too much thought into it.
Mm-hmm. And one last question. It appears that a lot of teams are putting up a ton of yardage total offense. Do you think that's the way the league is going to be this year?
Well, yeah, I think it is probably slanted a little bit to an offensive league. I think you also have to look at the opponents that we played in week 1, 2. I think that probably had a little bit to do with it as well. But you had teams like Temple play unbelievable defense, against Penn State, and
Sure.
We played good defense. I think it's probably too early to tell kind of what the identity of the conference as a whole until we get into 3, 4, 5 games into the season.
Oh, great. Thank you very much, Tom.
Sure.
If you have other questions for Coach Herman, please star 1 on your telephone if so.
We'll go to Shannon Green with the Orlando Sentinel.
Good morning, Tom. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Shannon. How are you?
Doing good. Just curious to know, get some insight on what are some of the pros and cons when you have a quarterback that has that running ability and that athleticism.
Well, I think the pros are obviously he's a home run threat every time the ball is in his hands, which is every play, and so that's certainly to our advantage. It opens up the run game for us, having to have defenses defend the quarterback run as well as the running back run on any given play. I think the cons are, not a ton, to be honest with you. I think, like I said, with uber athletes like Greg, and he reminds me a lot of Braxton Miller when I got to Ohio State, in terms of they've survived their whole careers from probably Pop Warner on up with just sheer athleticism. And so I think at times his footwork and technique lapse a little bit, not because he's lazy, not because he's not trying. I think it's just a hard habit to break because he hasn't had to rely on, buttoned up, tip-top shape, footwork and fundamentals every given snap. So that's something we're going to work with him this week, is to just focus on the fundamentals every single snap, make a conscious effort, self-talk, whatever you want to call it, to say, okay, hey, I'm going to be great fundamentally on this play. And but other than that, I think the pros very much outweigh the cons.
And last week you talked about trying to really soak in the experience of your first head coaching gig there. How much did you enjoy that first game experience? How much were you able to enjoy it and balance it against the nerves?
I think I did. I did probably a better job than I thought I would. There was a couple times, we scored a touchdown, and when we do, we got these crazy lunatics running out there in like chaps and cowboy hats, running around with flags, and I just kind of stopped and looked at that, looked at the student section, and our student section was phenomenal. They showed up in droves and were loud and excited, and gave us a big advantage. And there was one point when I kind of remembered to stop and wave up to where my wife and kids were sitting, and she said she didn't see me, but she wasn't paying attention to me. But that's okay. At least I remember to do it. And so no, I did. I enjoyed it, and I'm proud of the fact that I took a couple seconds here and there throughout the game to kind of take a deep breath and enjoy the scenery and enjoy the moment.
All right. Thank you so much, and good luck.
Thanks, Shannon.
Coach, we thank you for your time this morning. We look forward to talking to you again next Monday.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, this is Coach Tom Herman from Houston. Again, the Cougars at Louisville Saturday, noon Eastern Time, televised on ACC Regional Networks.